I was 14. It was an average night around 9 p.m. Me and my little cousin are at his house. I'm babysitting for the night while my mom and aunt are shopping and my dad and uncle are at the movies. So we're just sitting there. I was feeling really strange. Something was wrong, but I couldn't put my finger on it. So I just kept watching the TV with my cousin. The feeling wasn't going away, so I got up and walked to the back door to lock it. When I came back through the kitchen, I saw what was causing my weird feeling. In the window, there was a very decrepit and homeless-looking man, just staring into the window, looking at my cousin. Our parents were homeless, and they wouldn't let him be so empty. So I went upstairs and cleaned that man gambling. There was a man outside that went in. I was about 125 pounds and 5'8" at the time, and I played football for my school. If I remember correctly, I went downstairs and straight into the kitchen and grabbed one of those meat tenderizing hammers. Turned back to the window where I saw him there before, and he wasn't there. Ran back to the front door and checked out. It was locked. Both the deadbolt and knob were locked. Ran back upstairs with my meat tenderizing hammer and went into my cousin's room and sat down in front of the door. He asked what I was doing, and I said that he didn't need to worry about it, and then he should keep his head down. Cops would take half an hour, and my dad and uncle were 45 minutes away. Then I hear a window shatter and the sound of heavy boots walking around on the main floor. I told my cousin to stay calm, hide under the covers, and to keep silent. I could hear the guy walking around downstairs. It was horrifying. I gripped the damn meat tenderizer and waited. About 5 minutes passed, and then I hear the boots walking upstairs. At this point, I was having a freaking heart attack. My cousin's door is no more than 10 feet from the stairs. I heard him opening the doors to my aunt and uncle's room, then to the bathroom. He walked back downstairs, and I heard him open the door to the basement. 15 minutes later, the police show up and burst in the house. Turned out the guy was loose from the mental hospital 1 province away. My scariest Home Alone story happened during one of the first times I was left alone as a teenager. I was left at home on a random Sunday when my parents brought my brother to some event. I was loving the freedom, and everything I was doing was going great until I decided to leave the house to see my friend. My parents specifically told me not to leave the house, and I did anyways. Not thinking in the moment, I left my house and I completely forgot to lock the door. I came home hours later, and I had a terrible gut feeling. Something felt weird, and I noticed that the cabinets were left open and stuff was scrambled around the house. I began to become very startled, but I didn't completely believe that someone was there because it was so quiet. I started shouting throughout the house to see if anyone was there. There was no answer. I started to feel better until my phone started ringing. I looked down, and it was an unknown ID. Looking for attention, I answered the phone, and I heard deep and heavy breathing. I started to get extremely scared. It felt straight out of a horror movie. I kept asking, "Who is this?" repeatedly, until the phone hung up. 2 minutes later, I got another call, and I answered to the deep breathing. It sounded like an angry voice, and I started to become impatient that they weren't saying anything. They hung up again, and I got aggravated. I got another call from the unknown ID, and the breathing started again. Out of nowhere, I heard a deep and quiet voice whisper, "I'm in the house." My heart stopped, and chills ran down my spine. I've never been so scared in my life, but I acted tough, thinking it was a prank call from my friend or brother, knowing I was home alone. The caller hung up. This time, I started to hear creaking from upstairs, and suddenly I heard loud footsteps. Luckily, I heard something drop before he started sprinting down the stairs. I was able to get a head start on the intruder, and I disappeared into the woods and immediately called the cops. The cops reported that they found the front door left wide open. They never found the person that snuck in, but I'm lucky to be able to share that wild story. We ignored the area because of the great price, but now realized we were idiots because of things like this. I'm lying in bed, barely awake, while watching TV. My fiance is still at work, so I can't sleep. It's 2 a.m., and I'm barely dozing to the crime show that I was on when I hear scratching at the window. The window that was 1 foot away from me while lying in bed. I remember thinking, "Damn squirrels," when I hear the squirrels start cursing and mumbling, then the sound of a screwdriver lifting the window frame starts up. I start screaming bloody murder, that I have a gun and I'm calling the cops. The scratching noises stopped, and by the time the cops got to my door and searched my yard, there was no one there. Thinking, oh great, they think I'm crazy. I thanked them as I started walking back to their cruisers. Their radios all started going off at once. There was another break-in report in my neighborhood. The officers go scrambling off, and I slam the door quickly and lock it, once again freaking out. I go back into bed and wait for my fiance to get home. He calls on his way and wants me to stay on the phone with him until he gets there. I hear loud footsteps on the wooden shed ramp in our backyard and say, "Oh good, you're home," and hang up. Walking to the back door, he called me straight back and told me that he wasn't even in the neighborhood. So once again, I'm calling 911 and losing my shit. He and the cops got there at the same time and searched the yard again. Apparently, they'd been getting calls all night about some meth head trying to break into the same few houses all night with a screwdriver. They'd been one step behind him the whole night and cruisers everywhere. Oh, and the cursing at the window, one of the officers went to the bedroom window and saw the screen removed. Meth whiz had disrupted a huge wasp nest when he took off the screen, and my tiny little wasp defender saved the day.